Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here at the Weedsport Speedway. We're here for, as always, Hometown Heroes presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. But first up, the A&J Custom Sprints 305s. And not a lot of guys coming out to play right now, but two you don't see, Clay Christopherson, Patrick Spangler, so bump that up to 14 here. We're going to get a couple more drivers in the field. And, well, shame on me. I'm going to be quiet here for about 20 seconds. I noticed I do not have my mic software up. And, well, they always get me excited here for Hometown Heroes. And when my voice picks up real loud, it will cut off my microphone coming out to you guys. So let me click this button here real quick. And, well, you'll hear me talking again in about 15 or 20 seconds. Technology, wonderful. Sometimes not so much here, but we're going to get ready to roll. I would imagine there in about 30 seconds or so, we should hit close to 7 o'clock, and Dino's going to roll it right on time here tonight. These ones The 305s have been going pretty quick here. Not a lot of messing around. Not a whole bunch of power in these things, so it kind of, go-kartish almost. You got to really send it in if you want to drive it around. You see Patrick, he's probably full throttle there, went through the slick. Didn't matter. Stuck. See, guys probably want to putt these things as close to the inside wall as they can come qualifying. I would imagine that's going to be the quickest way around here. But we'll see here as you see warm-ups come to a close and we get ready to go into our A&J Custom Creations qualifying here for the 305 sprint cars. Let's see who pulls out on the racetrack first. Of course, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Nobody beats this guy out on the racetrack. See what the Got Your 6 Racing Network 31 can do here as he rolls out of 4, ready to take the green flag. Lap number 1 about to kick off. Gets as close to the inside wall as he can in that 31. Maybe lost a little more traction than he would have liked. Let's see what lap number 1 shows here for the 31. 13.52, but quick time for the driver of the 39, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. He comes around lap number 2, can improve, but so far doesn't need to. Still at the top of the charts, Dino comes around, can improve second lap. Can Mr. Wednesday Night improve his second time around? He's currently 4th. Brian Moore Sr. gonna move up to P2 and 100 grand with sector 1. He takes P2 from Brian Moore, knocks him back to 3rd. Can Grandy improve? Slow it through 1, slow it through 2. He's going to stay P2. Let's find the driver of the 51. Well, he's putting his way around here. Clay Christopherson is going to come out here, qualify last, get a little bit of TV time. He knew I was going to get a kick out of that. Let's see what the 89 of Mason Hine does his final time around. P11 for the 89. And putt continues to putt that 51 around. He's going to qualify P14. He put in a blistering lap of 27.38. And he needs to go back there. He needs to get a drink, cool himself off after blazing around that quick. Let's see here. We get ready to roll into heat race number 1. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Should be 2 heat races. Rounding out the field, the mayor in the 75, Steve Bixler. Row 3 to the high side, the 89 of Mason Hine. To the inside, the 31 of Brandon Templeton. Row 2 to the outside, the 39 of the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. To the inside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row 1 for heat race number 1 to the outside, the 79 of Dean Reynolds. To the inside, his teammate in the 32, the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. Anthony Morano getting the lineup on the pole here for heat race number 1. Let's see if he can take advantage. Starting position is, not everything here at Weedsport, but, man, it's about 80% of it. If you can make it easy on yourself, go out here and collect a win in heat race number 1, it would really, really help take the pressure off your shoulders. See those 2 teammates on the front row fight hard for it, but they can't fight too hard. Because that 055 of Brian Moore Sr. and that 39 of Patrick Spangler are going to be there to pounce. That row number 2, that is a dangerous row number 2. Not what you want to see in your rearview mirror. If you're Dean Reynolds or the Magic Ant-Man there, Anthony Morano, as we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. The Steve King Foundation pace car will pull off. You see the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We've got 6 laps to play in the clay at Weedsport Speedway. Heat race number 1 is underway. Anthony trying to take advantage of the shorter way around. Dino trying to mount up a charge on the high side. What can he do here? He gets into the outside wall. Dino just trying to hold on at this point, but the high side banger, 4th to 2nd. in the early going here. Can the 39 go hunting here? Can he find a way by the 32? As Brandon Templeton looking for that fourth place spot. He sends it in. Patrick Spangler gets into the inside wall. Dino goes around. Brandon Templeton just got Brian Moore Sr. Now he's looking after the 39 here. Patrick Spangler got into the inside wall pretty hard. Brandon Templeton trying to find some grip, drive up under him. He just can't. Patrick Spangler holds on for the time being. But there's 2 laps to go for the leader in the 32. Anthony Morano looking good out front. 3/4 of a second lead. You got to think he's got this locked up. Dino would need a big sit really to make an imprint on this 3/4 of a second lead. And as the white flag flies, there's one more trip around for the end there. Anthony Morano, final time through 3 and 4. He sees the checkered flag wave, and Anthony Morano parks the 32 on the top step here for heat race number 1. He's going to start on the pole. Dino, Patrick, Brandon, Brian, Steven, and Mason are going to be your inside rows here for the feature with only 2 heat races. That's something I kind of forgot to mention here. So heat race number 2, winner will start on the outside of the front row for the feature, and so on and so forth behind. Second will be outside of row number 2. You can do the math. Clay Christopherson rounds out the field here in heat race number 2. Row 3 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon. Terry Landis to the inside, the 513 of the Brewer Two Piece, Jim Parker. Row 2 to the outside, the 518 of 100 Grand, Joseph Grandy. To the inside, but starting from the rear if he does decide to even come out, the salesman, Blake Chapman. Row number 1 for heat race number 2 to the outside, the 05 of Pivo, Donovan Ross. And starting on the pole, the general in the 87, Andy Patton. Roll around here. Should do the 2 laps. I don't think Weedsport is one of the tracks with the less pace lap command yet. iRacing took some of those away from us. We'll roll around here one more time. If you're out there watching tonight, let us know who you're rooting for, please. Always interested to know, maybe your guy will get a little more camera time. Throw his name out there, or maybe you got a nickname for one of your drivers that we haven't heard, don't know about. We're going to see that Steve King Foundation pace car get ready to pull off here as we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. 6 laps to set the outside starting rows for tonight's features. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We've got 6 laps to play in the clay at Weedsport Speedway. Devo trying to mount a charge, but Andy, shorter way around, has the advantage so far in the 87. Comes up across the nose of the 5. They both tighten up. They get the outside wall, and just like that, 100 grand in the 518. Welcome to the lead, Joseph Grandy. Jeff Barker trying to hook up, but here comes the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. In the 161, what can he do in that purple Jeters machine? We go off the nose here of the 161. He tries to take a peek to the inside. Can't get it done just yet. Terry gonna have to put his head down and try to go back to work here. He's running out of time because the 518's coming across the line, and we've got 2 to play. Only 4 drivers survived there after that lap number 1. Clay Christopherson took it easy in qualifying, but has slowly reeled in the 161, and with the white flag in the air, do we see Clay make a move here? Final time down the backstretch for the 518, Joseph Grandy through 3 and 4. He sees the checkered flag, and he takes it here for heat race number 2. Barker, Landis, Christopherson, Patton, Ross, and Chapman round out the field as we step away for a minute here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We'll be right back with your &J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Car feature right after this. live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here. Just 20 seconds separate us between us and our first feature of the night here, the A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Cars. Should have 14 drivers in the field here. Only 10 drivers have put in a lap in warm-ups. Brian Moore Sr. is the quickest. Brandon Templeton, Blake Chapman round out the top three. We get ready to go play here for what should be a 25-lap non-stop show here to kick us off. And then, of course, next, we have the 360 sprint cars, followed by the midgets. So don't go anywhere. It is going to be a good night of racing here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Running out the field, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman to the outside of row 7, to the inside, the mare in the 75, Steve Bixler. Row 6 to the outside, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross, to the inside, the 89 of Mason, hit him with the hind. Row 5 to the outside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton, to the inside, Mr. Wednesday Night in the 055, Brian Moore Sr. Row 4 to the outside, putt-putt, Clay Christopherson. To the inside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row 3 to the top shelf, the Desert Demon in the 161, Terry Landis. To the inside, the 39 of the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. Row 2 to the outside, the Brewerton Beast in the 513, Jeff Barker. To the inside, the 79 of Dino Dean Reynolds. Row number 1 for your 25-lap 305 sprint car feature here, presented by A&J Custom Creations. To the outside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. And starting on the pole, the Ant-Man in the 32, Anthony Morano. 25 laps before we get to crown tonight's first winner. Will it come from the front row? I'd say if you're a betting man, pretty good chances the winner comes from the front row, but you can't sleep on a couple of these other guys. That's for sure. Just not going to be easy here in the 305s. Not a lot of power to help, manipulate your way through the field. So you really got to be smooth. You got to keep up momentum, and if the guy in front of you makes a mistake, you gotta make him pay for it as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We've got 25 laps to play in the clay at Weedsport Speedway. Your 305 feature is underway. Good jump there for the 518. Takes the early lead. Anthony Morano goes up and shuts the door. Holds on to P2 for now. But man, Dino and Barker, a little contact. Hard into the outside wall and no caution flag. Waves. We continue here. Dino in the outside wall. Nowhere for Blake Chapman to go. Terry Landis on the inside. Dino stuck to the outside. Caution flag finally waves. And we get to go back and break down what happened here. But kicked off with not here. It didn't kick off. We saw where it kicked off. Dino slides up a little bit. Kisses the left rear of Barker, who, when he comes back down after the contact, gets back into Dino. Clay, he thought he was going to make it there. A little bit of contact. Gets hit again there from Dino when the right front doesn't work. But boy, man, lots of nonsense here. Let's see what happens to the 161. That was, he just contacted him and Brandon Templeton. That's what hurt Brandon Templeton. Went down to the inside there. Man, carnage early here at the Weedsport Speedway. Until you kind of learn the guys around you, where they're lifting, where they're going to drive, you expect that to happen a little bit. But, man, we didn't expect Patrick Spangler to go from 5th to 3rd that quick. And now you got to count this driver of the 39 in this thing. He is definitely going for it. Anthony Morano, look at that new logo on the wing of that thing. A little ShaggyTV on there from some of my FTM friends. I really appreciate that. It looks good up there. I mean, obviously it looked pretty freaking good without it, but you add that on there. Makes it look that much better, and I appreciate you for that, Anthony. Joseph Randy. That, you know, it reminds me of that Zemco paint job. I always say that with the 518. There's sometimes it's a similar looking car that used to run at Port Royal. They had a white version they would do too. Lights are off on the Steve King Foundation pace car, and we should get ready to go back and play this time. See the Steve King Foundation pace car dive off, and the green flag is high. Joseph Grandy just has to wait to drop that hammer. He does. Anthony Morano was blinking a little bit. He went high. Hopefully nobody got any blacks, but Anthony Morano, not the time you want to have that hiccup. He falls from second to the back, and welcome the high side banger to P2. Patrick Spangler on the move. Jeff Barker rolling the outside here, trying to reel those front two in. Plenty of time here at the Weedsport Speedway, so don't have to be too aggressive. Oh, caution flag flies for the second time. Dean Reynolds involved once again. Tough night here for the 79 of Dean Reynolds. I believe this started ahead of Dino. Let's see here, it had to have because he's running in the back. Let's find Brandon Templeton here. Mason Hine possibly. Yeah, okay, so the 89 of Mason Hine, that's what it was. Gets into the inside wall and comes back down the racetrack, and man, Dino with a freaking shot. Nowhere to go. They both go for a wicked ride. And Dino, you got to think that's going to be all she wrote there for that 79, unless he had another quick repair. Trying to find a camera there of Dino. Okay, here he goes. Well, that thing's beat up. I think that thing's going to drive for him. Unless he can get in there and maybe get the quick repair. Oh, there we go. Okay. No, maybe not, because you can see that wing's still damaged. So, you know, that may be all she wrote there for the driver of the 79. You only get that one quick repair, so I think Dino is going to be in a little bit of trouble. They're able to fix that wheel. That's the most important thing. Wing looks a little sick, but Dino's back out there on the racetrack, and we'll have to see what that 79 can do. We roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. Have to see if Joseph Grandy can fight off the high side banger as we're back underway. Joseph drops the hammer. 19 laps to go. Randy with a good run there, but man, the battle heating up back here. Anthony Morano trying to get back on the chair here after he fell off with a little connection issue to the outside of Donovan Rawls. Completes the pass. Anthony Morano back up to the top 5. Gets into the general there a little bit. Andy Patton slid up a little contact, and that's where, you know, I mean, it stinks. You do have to get the elbows out sometimes, but I said in these things, guy in front of you makes a mistake, you got to go, because they are momentum based. And there you see the 32, he slides a little sideways, loses that momentum, can't complete the pass on the 513. And Blake Chapman, a guy who we're going to see starting in the back a lot this season, just trying to maybe work on those skills a little bit. We know he can lead, but it's one of those things where, you know, he's not stuck in traffic that often. In the 32, Anthony Morano, you see him get into the wall there, no caution, able to continue. Clay Christopherson now down in the inside wall, and we're back under caution. See what happened here to the 51. We'll get a good view there of the 32. So he got in the outside wall. Brandon just comes up a little bit. Maybe thought he was going to be clear. Thought he was going to go around the outside of the 161, but Clay just didn't hook up. He got caught there. Tough break. The 32 of Anthony Morano, he's on pit road. He's about to pull off here. Dino back up there, going to get that thing worked on a little more. Try to straighten everything out, I guess. Might as well. Really got nothing else to lose if you're Dean at this point. Already back towards the back. Car probably not handling up the standard, so you might as well just go in there and keep wrenching on it every single chance the drivers give you here. As everything cycles back there, you see the lights go off on the Steve King Foundation pace car. And Joseph Grandy set to lead the field to the green in the 518. And he hold off Patrick Spangler. Can Jeff Barker get into the mix? Can Andy Patton possibly? Or looky there in fifth. You got the salesman Blake Chapman. I mean, any one of these drivers in the top 5 could bring this home. We've only gotten 10 laps in the books. Here is going to be coming on to lap 14 as the green flag drops. Grandy drops the hammer. We're back underway. Patrick gets into the outside wall there in 1 and 2. He's trying to search for real estate to gain some ground on the 518, but right now he's just pushing the envelope a little too far. And Blake Chapman looking on the bottom here, seeing what he can do. Cuts it down, though, loses momentum. And now Donovan Ross to the outside. Blake trying to make the money back in 3 and 4. And he does. He beats the general to the line. He knows he's got to get up top, though. He goes up, he slams the door shut in Andy's face. That's what he had to do. And for now, he continues on. But Dino back here in the back, I heard somebody getting in the wall. He's not having a fun time there in that 79. And Joseph Grandy is getting closer lap by lap. Grandy with 9 laps to go. Man, he is really driving this race car. Another caution flag. You can see on the bottom of the screen there, Anthony Morano involved. Couldn't tell who else there. Let's go back. Let's take a look. I think it starts with the general here in the 87. Yeah, just gets some help there from the 05 of Devo. He gets a little loose in front of him. Devo can't check up in time. Terry Landis. Oh, he gets into the side of Brian Moore Sr. And this is where we see more cars involved there. Anthony Morano flips wildly to the bottom. I believe that's... that was Steve Bixler involved in that, getting sent to the bottom. Lots of cars. There are not, unless you're one of these maybe 4 or 5 out front, you have experienced some troubles here tonight at the Weedsport Speedway. So have to see if drivers can calm it down here, bring home the last 8 laps under green flag. They're going to need a little more help. Lights are off on the Steve King Foundation pace car, so we'll be rolling them back green this time by. See Anthony Morano, another one out there with the damaged wing. Out of quick repairs, not going to be able to go in and do anything. Kind of a run what you brung right now for the 32 of Anthony Morano as the Steve King Foundation pace car pulls off Joseph Grandy drops the hammer, and we're back underway. We've got 8 laps to play. Barker taking a swing on the bottom here. Couldn't find any grip through 1 and 2. He's going to go down and shut the door, though. Almost gets into the inside wall. That's going to ruin his momentum, and Blake Chapman to the outside. But the caution flag waves one more time, and Brian Moore Sr., he gets collected after the caution flag. Got a couple wrecks here. See what happened to the 161. Contact there with Anthony Morano. And then gets into the inside wall. Gets into Anthony one more time. Nowhere for Templeton to go. He gets collected. Boy, oh boy, gloves are off here. And then we had Brian Moore Sr. Let's take a look at this one here. Totally unrelated after the caution flag already flew. You can see Devo just gets a little loose, comes up the racetrack, gets into the left front of Moore Sr. See that Young Gun Creations 055. I can't tell if that right front was broken or not. Definitely not what you want to have happen to you there when the caution flag flies. He is going to lose spots because of it as he's lined up on the tail end of the lead lap now. So definitely not what you wanted to happen there if you're Brian Moore Sr., but sometimes it's out of your control and you can only play the cards you're dealt. So Brian just going to have to put his head down, try to get some more back here in the closing laps as the lights are off on the pace car and we get ready to go back racing here at the Weedsport Speedway. 5 cautions and 19 laps so far. So a tricky racetrack here tonight. The lights are off. The pace car pulls off. Grandy drops the hammer. We've got 6 laps to go here at Weedsport, and Jeff Barker, oh, it looked like he was going to make a move to the inside, maybe clip that wall a little bit and allow Blake to get that momentum build up. Going down the backstretch, Blake Chapman to the outside, but give it to the beast. Jeff Barker, though, losing this battle through 1 and 2. He watches the salesman go down and shut the door. Blake Chapman feeling like home at the bottom of 3 and 4. And he's got his sights set on the leaders here, but he's only got 4 laps. Can he try to go get by the 39 of the high side banger? He's looking low, side by side, coming to the line. Blake giving it all he can here, trying to drive the wheels off that 20, trying to get around the 39, seeing if he can't go play with Grandy a little bit. But we've got 2 laps to go, and Joseph Grandy feeling like $1 million out front watching this race behind. White flag in the air one more time around for the 518 as the battle is on for P2. But we can't take our eyes off the leader. Final time through 3 and 4. Joseph Grandy brings home the checkered flag at Weedsport, followed by Spangler, Chapman, Barker, and Ross, your top 5. Blake Chapman, after able to come through a messy field, get up there to 3rd. The high side banger holds him off, but $100,000. Joseph Grandy gets it done here. He parks it on the hill. Congratulations to the 518 of Joseph Grandy. So let our drivers catch their breath here, get a drink. We'll pull them up for their interviews. We'll see here if we can get a word with Blake Chapman here. He's still down in his team Discord. I'll give him another second or two to move up. There he goes. He's on up. Go ahead, pull him up. Hey, Blake, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Shaggy.
Man, it was war out there. You were able to survive, though, and you get up into the top three. And what were those opening laps like?
Man, it was just chaotic. It really was. It was just stay out of trouble the best you can. And I can't remember a race where I missed so many big wrecks just barely. Just guys would get into the wall and I'd be able to duck underneath them in just enough time. Unfortunately, there was no one inside of me. So, we just got lucky a little bit running from the back. Coming up through the field to avoid those wrecks. But we were able to do that. Then we found a little something on the bottom there in 3 and 4, made up some ground. We were able to pass some cars and end up on the podium.
Yeah, I'm glad you did mention their 3 and 4, Blake, because I was going to say that. I'd see you try to go for it in 1 and 2. If you're stuck down there, you have to. But it just seemed like, man, if you would try it in 1 and 2, you would kill all the momentum in that thing, and then it would take you a couple more laps to be able to come back at them in 3 and 4. Was that kind of how it felt to you?
Yeah, absolutely. On the 360s, I think if this track comes in like it did, I think the 360s you'll be able to run that bottom in 1 and 2. But that entry to 1, you have to get the car so sideways if you want a good run out of the corner. And these 305s, it just kills all the momentum. So 3 and 4 was good because we could keep the car relatively straight throughout that corner and keep our momentum up, and that's where we were making up most of the ground. But yeah, if you wanted to have any speed, you had to either have a slider line or top there in 1 and 2.
Well, hey, man, you got to learn a little bit there for the 360s, as you mentioned. If the track age is the same, maybe we can see a little more bottom there in the 360s. But you did all you could here with this little go-kart. Not a lot of long green flag runs, but you're able to go up 11 spots, man, and park this thing on the podium. Hell of a job, Blake. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. I got to thank all the guys out at KSR, especially Terry for running with me tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Andy at AJ Custom Creations, and I got to thank, of course, Andy for sponsoring this Hometown Heroes 305 division as well. I got to thank Dean for the admin tonight, and of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. Dean just recently sent me some very, very delicious popcorn from there, so I got to thank him for that as well. And they got some of the best stuff out there. And if you're gonna order some, don't forget to use code CART, that's CART, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And I got to thank everyone involved in putting this league on, and you for broadcasting, Shaggy.
Well, hey, man, good luck here with the hill climb in the 360s. We'll be rooting for you, Blake.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman bringing home P3. Now we'll bring up the man who was able to hold him off here. Patrick, it seemed like there were a couple times in the race where you'd reel in Joseph, but the one time we saw you get in the wall pretty good there in 1 and 2, and it just seemed like from there you couldn't really get anything back at him. Did you damage the race car at all?
Yeah, I hit the inside wall and damaged the front end where my steering wheel was like 45 degrees to the right, and then I slammed the rear into the wall in turn 4 and messed up the back end, so it was like bouncing all crazy going into the turn. So I was happy to hold off Blake and hold on to second.
Yeah, not a lot of long green flag runs there, but how's it feel being out front, getting to miss all that? Is it frustrating? You want a little more green flag runs, or is it nice to chunk it up there a little bit when you got damage on the race car?
It was nice to chunk it up when I had damage. A couple more laps, I think Blake would have had me. Hopefully I keep the car in one piece for the 360s. Yeah.
Yeah, Blake mentioned a little bit. You think in the 360s we'll get a little more of a bottom line in 1 and 2? I know it's just so momentum based that it's hard to turn that 305 and keep the momentum up. Do you think we'll have a little more bottom in the 360?
Yeah, I think it will. It won't bog down as much, and they usually gear them pretty short. So hopefully we get 2 lanes running in the 360s.
Well, hey, heck of a run, Patrick. Congratulations on the P2, man. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, just you for the awesome broadcast. Jeff and Jack for running coast to coast. JRB Designs for the wrap, and Train Wheels Racing.
Hey, good luck here in the 360s, man. I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks.
Patrick Spangler, P2. And now we're going to bring up the man of the hour here. Joe, probably, I said you need to win that heat race, get up on that front row, and you took advantage of that outside starting spot. And, man, you just walked away with this thing. By far the quickest car. Were we excited to get this thing over? Because, man, those caution laps, when you're this quick, they've got to do a number on the psyche.
Yeah, missed these 305s. I haven't really raced them since they took them out. Fun little things, but yeah, started outside of Verano. I figured it was I'd be able to get around them the first turn 1 and 2, and yeah, just stuck it and tried to keep it nice and smooth. Couple cautions towards the end. Yeah, I got a little nervous. Thought Patrick was behind me, but he wasn't really gaining on me at all. I don't know if he was had a hurt car or not, but yeah, stuck it out for the win.
Yeah, he hit that inside wall in 1 and 2 pretty good, and it seemed like from when he was trying to run you down, and it seemed like from there, man, it was just all your show, and I'm glad you're able to hold on to it, not lose it under a funky restart. That would have been a crappy way to throw this thing over. Congratulations here on a big win, man, leading all 25 laps. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, all the guys over at Coast to Coast Sim Sports, USA, CFM, girlfriend Olivia, Catalytic Recovery. Appreciate all the guys at Coast to Coast and you, man, for doing the broadcast.
Hey, hell of a run, Joe. You going to come out here in the 360?
Yeah, I'll be able to do them this week.
All right, good luck, brother.
Thanks.
That's $100,000. Bringing home the checkers flags here in your A&J Custom Creations 305 sprint cars. And, well, if you like that, we're going to get a little more power out of the barn here. Hook up the extra horses, and we're going to have the 360s here at Weedsport. So stick around. We'll be right back with a little Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint cars right after this.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Right when we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here. Should be getting ready to roll into qualifying here any minute for the Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Cars. 11 guys signed up, or 11 guys have a time in, but 14 guys have signed up for this thing. So it should have 14 drivers in this once again. 2 heat races with 7 drivers apiece. As the checkered flag waves. We get ready to go into qualifying. Let's see here. No Brandon Templeton. He was only running the 305, so don't know who's going to get out on the racetrack first. Let's see. It's looking like it is going to be the 7 of Bob DeGood. Let's see here. Maybe Dino. They're pretty close. See here, we'll ride with Bob here, lap number 1. Lap number 2, we'll go over to Dino. They were almost identical there. Dino purple through sector 1. Now back to green, green, green. Dean's going to take this pole, I'd imagine, at 1288. 500's faster than the 7 of Bob Good. What can Dino do this second time around? The 79 looking to improve. Does improve through sector 2. Can he improve the time? The answer is no. He's going to stay P5 as 100 grand. Has that 518 dialed in. He's at the top of the charts with a 1268. Blake Chapman, purple sector 1. Green sector 2. Quick time for the driver of the 20. Blake Chapman. Can he improve this second time around? Slower through 1, quicker through 2. Blake Chapman going to stay with that 12.58 as Devo Donovan Ross comes to a close. He brings it home P6. And Clay out there with another blistering lap here, looking to just slam one down their throats. I'm going to imagine this is in the 29, maybe 30 seconds. He's going to need a drink after this one. Let's see what it is. Look at that. 29.5. I nailed it. You know, right in the middle. I mean, you talk about nailing it. I know speed when I see it. And that 51 is hooked up here at Weedsport. As Terry Landis, he's going to run out of time, not going to be able to qualify. We're going to get ready here for heat race number 1. We'll see our starting grid here when it's available. There she is. Running up the field, the 89 of Mason Hine. Row 3 to the outside, the 88 of the 888 of Steve Maurer. To the inside, the Macho Man in the 042, Tyler Wilson. Row 2 to the outside, the salesman Blake Chapman, who will start. He's not going to race this thing, actually. So ignore Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. Row 1 for heat race number 1 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Dean knows this is the war here for him. If he can win heat race number 1, it's not going to be as amplified as it was in the 305s with importance. And, I hit the nail on the head there with that one. Grandy being able to start on the outside of the front row, bring it home. It's pretty important. It's not do or die, but it's, man, you got to help yourself out. And Dino pulling a wheelie here, trying to, get some heat in those rear tires. Maybe get some excitement going for the fans here. His office is right out of pit road exit. Oh, look at him. I mean, how else do you think he landed such a beautiful woman named Megan? It's because of it's those talents. He's willing to go out and just have some fun. He doesn't care that he could destroy a expensive piece of equipment. He's just out here having fun, and that's what the ladies like. Laid back. That's what the 79 is. Oh, Jeff Barker, he's trying to hog some of the ladies, though. He almost pulled a wheelie. Brewerton Beast getting some smiles there on the side of that 513. Never noticed that smiley face in there before. So we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. The 79 of Dean Reynolds will pace the field to the green flag. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. We've got 6 laps to play at the Weedsport Speedway. Dino needs to find that grip right away, be able to get up and kind of shut that door, and he does. But he doesn't go up and slam it shut, leaves the screen open, and Barker sticks that right foot right on through, tries to barge his way in. But for now, Dino holds on here at the Weedsport Speedway. Let's go trackside. Saw Grandy there going down that backstretch, man, using up every inch of that surface. Gets in the outside wall, almost does it again. But this 518 is quick. He's ready to play, but the Macho Man, he's ready to snap into a Slim Jim here on the bottom. What can the Macho Man do? Barker trying to play some defense, goes up high. Oh, Grandy shuts the door, white flag in the air. Dino, pace in the field here, 0.7 of a second. Final time through 3 and 4. Dean Reynolds answers the bell. He's going to start on the pole for tonight's Flatline Racing Bodies 360 feature. Grandy, Barker, Wilson, Maurer, Chapman, and Hine going to be your inside rows. Take a look at that starting grid here. Heat race number 2. Whenever it decides to come up, of course, abide by iRacing and their timing. We're going to watch the 513. Just sit out there. I don't know what iRacing didn't like. There we go. Going to advance, rounding out the field, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 3 to the outside, the 051 of Putt Putt, Clay Christopherson. To the inside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row 2 to the outside, the 39 of the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. To the inside, the 32 of the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. Row number 1 for heat race number 2 at the Weedsport Speedway. To the outside, the 05 of Devo Donovan Ross. And starting on the pole, the 7 of Bob DeGood. I have another one here who he just, he saw the game plan laid out from Dino. You got to drive it in there to 1 and 2. You can't be light on that foot, and you got to try to hook it up. Get up top going down the backstretch and shut that door. And if Bob can't do that, there are going to be a bunch of cats clawing to get in. That 32, the 39, the 5. I mean, the 5th, everybody in this heat race. Absolutely everyone, the whole way back to Landis. I mean, Terry Landis is a Renegade Sprint Car feature winner. That's our premier division. Terry can wheel these things, and especially at a track, maybe will favor the bottom here in the late stages. That's something that will fit the 161's driving style. So let's see what happens here as the Steve King Foundation pace car pulls off. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We've got 6 laps to play in the clay at Weedsport Speedway. Heat race number 2 is underway. Ooh, the Ant-Man, he's got to get on the binders there. The 7 of Bob DeGood. Little hesitant there on the bottom of 1 and 2. Tries to drive it in deep in 3 and 4, but the damage was already done. I had told you, you got to get up there and shut it going down the backstretch, and he couldn't. Slips up there. The Ant-Man goes on by, and Bob from 1st back to 5th here in a hurry as Terry Landis gets by. Battle for the lead. Patrick Spangler to the inside. Devo upstairs. What's going to happen here? We got a new leader at the line. Give it to the 39. Whoa, 3 wide. Anthony Morano stuck his nose in there. Caught Patrick by surprise. He had to catch his breath there. He loses grips on the lead, and now Devo trying to keep that 5 machine rolling. Can Devo win heat race number 2? We're going to have 1 lap to go. This time by white flag in the air. The high side banger doing his damage on the low side. He pulls even with Devo. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves. Give it to Devo. Patrick P. 2. Morano 3rd. Landis 4th. DeGood, Moore, and Christopherson round out the field. Holy crap, what a finish there. Heat race number 2. We are going to catch our breath, step away here for a minute or two, and we'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. Here for your Coast to Coast Hometown Heroes. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A little over 15 seconds here. We're going to get ready to roll into feature number 2 of 3 here this evening at the Weedsport Speedway. This race and the next race brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies. Appreciate you guys and what you do here for the Coast to Coast Racing League. Couldn't put on these phenomenal broadcasts without you, and we really do appreciate it. Now, with that being said here, let's get down to business. Let's take a look at this starting grid. If it decides it wants to pop up for us here. Of course it doesn't. Doesn't want to do it the right number. There we go. There's the correct number. Rounding out the field, the 051 of Putt-Putt Clay Christopherson to the inside, the 89 of Mason Hine. Row 6 to the outside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night Brian Moore Sr. To the inside, the salesman in the 20, Blake Chapman. Row 5 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the 888 of Steve Maurer. Row 4 to the outside, the Desert Demon in the 161, Terry Landis. To the inside, the 042 of the Macho Man, Tyler Wilson. Row 3 to the outside, the 32 of the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Parker. Row number 2 to the outside, the 39 of the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. To the inside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. Row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. To the outside, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dino, Dean Reynolds. See if Dino's got what it takes here to keep the horses at bay, or if it's going to be a little too much starting on that inside. I think you got to think advantage Devo, and then, man, I don't know if I really want to be Dean right now, because then you got the high side banger to the outside, the 32. There's not going to be much room to fit in. If you're Dean, you got to nail this restart if you want to have a chance to bring this home. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. We've got 25 laps to play in the clay at the Weedsport Speedway. Dean drops the hammer. He's looking to float up here. Can he shut the door? Doesn't need to. Look at all that grip down the backstretch. Shaggy shuts her mouth, Dino says, and he takes the lead here, lap number 1. Ooh, Jeff Barker there almost sent it in, got to the back of the 32. He had to get on the binders. That allowed the Desert Demon of Terry Landis to inch closer, and here comes the Macho Man, Tyler Wilson. Blake Chapman started this thing 11th, already up to 9th, as he's trying to work on what will be the Macho Man here for P8. Tyler Wilson goes down, shuts the door there in 3 and 4. And Patrick Spangler to the lead there through 1 and 2. The high side banger doing his damage down low. He got a good run through 3 and 4. I didn't think he'd be able to make it stick through 1 and 2, but he did. And the high side banger leads the way. Anthony Morano jumps up to P3, and here comes Joseph Grandy trying to recoup. Started 3rd, it's fallen back to 5th. Patrick Spangler, he's got the boys towed on him now here. He showed him the light on the bottom here, and now Dino going to go downstairs, try to follow that 39 around, and here comes the Ant-Man. Got ShaggyTV on board this week, trying to find a way around that 79. Anthony looks low in 3 and 4, battle on for P2, but he's going to have to wait. As Terry Landis, he tries to move that 161 on up. He's on the bottom. Can he find a way around the 5? Donovan too quick off the top of 4. And Blake Chapman looking to go upstairs, but the door got closed. Caution flag waves for the first time here in the 360s. Bob DeGood goes around. Sorry if you hear my voice fading, man. I can feel it. It's going to be a saltwater gargle after this race. But let's take a look here. Bob, he almost gets into that inside wall, and you're going to see him get into the left rear. Brian Moore Sr. does a 360. Well, more than a 360. Does, what is that, a 540? Just tries to get it up off the racetrack out of the way of the leaders, but the caution flag had already flew. That's going to happen. Just tough racing, trying to manipulate the bottom of the racetrack. You go down there, you almost clip that wall. I mean, we saw Patrick do it in the slower version of the 305 sprint cars. So it definitely is easy to do. It's not hard to go down there and make friends with that inside wall. See those lights go off under the flagman's feet? That means we're going back racing this time. Bye. And Patrick Spangler is going to have to see if he can hold off Dino and the gang here. Not going to be easy. Going to have 16 laps to go when we go back racing. So plenty of time to make your move. If you're Blake Chapman, though, you don't have plenty of time. You got to go now, and the green flag waves. We're back underway, 16 to play. Dino trying to mount that charge off the top in 1 and 2, but Patrick Spangler too good on the bottom, and Dino is just watching that lead get a little bigger through 1 and 2, but now Patrick, he goes up and shuts the door, maybe a little harder to hit that bottom now, but Dino going to go back down there in 3 and 4. Anthony Morano that time the first driver to the outside. He thinks about sending it in. Maybe, oh, Dino drives it in too deep. Maybe didn't want to block his teammate there in the 32. Might have heard him get the run, overdrove. Car looks okay. Doesn't seem to have any bad handling from getting in the wall, but not what you want if you're Dino, and green flag runs is what you want here if you're Blake Chapman. You got to have time to pick some guys off, and he's been able to do that. Started 11th, up to 6th. Devo hard in the wall, up and over. He comes to a stop in the middle of 1 and 2, and Steve Maurer collected in it as well. But Devo, I believe, solo car accident here in 1 and 2. Just drives it in a little deep, catches that outside wall. We'll have to see here. So it starts there on the front stretch, just gets into the wall and couldn't turn it in time. It was already, kind of dictated he needed to turn before that. Got to the outside wall hard, and you're going to see Steve Maurer with nowhere to go in that 888. Gets into the 5 of Devo, who obviously has to take that thing down pit road. Patrick Spangler took the lead there on lap 4, I believe. Has not looked back. The Training Wheels Racing 39. Got Blake Chapman slowly inching his way up into that picture. You can see the KSR 20 machine there in the inside of row 3. He started almost dead last, so you got to keep an eye out on the 20 here of Blake Chapman. It's my apologies there if you heard a little noise. Trying to adjust where I put my mic here. Trying to pick it up a little better. I had to tap it a little bit. But as the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. Patrick Spangler leads us to the green flag. Oh, and him and Anthony, man, they were full of beans there, getting all squirrely, and Joseph Grandy possibly pays the price here. We'll have to see what this looks like, you know, if he's having to check up because of that, if he gets hit in the rear end. You could see he's on the outside row number 2 here. So, no, he just maybe tried to slot down there in line, but Dino was there, didn't enter in as low as maybe Grandy thought he was going to. And a little contact there, going to send the 518 around. But I don't think, you know, it's easy to want to lay that blame on Dino, but I don't know if there's truly too much more he could have done there. Let's see here. We'll go. This is exactly what Dino sees. You can see he is trying to rotate that thing, but he had just come up to try to maximize the corner entry. And it's just two guys fighting for the same spot. It's as much of a racing incident as anything. You can't really put the blame on Grandy or Dino there. Just guys trying to fight for every spot at Weedsport, and that's kind of what, you know, you got to do. This track encourages that. It's a tricky turn one. A lot of guys, you know, you don't want to be so far up on that wall unless you're going to cut down to the inside, because it kind of kills you for that corner entry. You know, even if you're swinging it in up high, you can see, I mean, there's a reason that the cushion doesn't wear up that high on the corner entry, because drivers, you know, if you enter in that high, it's tricky the way it's turn 1 and 2 is angled. You've got to kind of cut it down on the entry, and if you don't do that correctly, your whole corner is going to be compromised. The Steve King Foundation pace car pulls off that 39, set to drop the hammer. We're back underway. We've got a 10-lap shootout here at Weedsport. Blake Chapman to the inside here at Dean Reynolds. So we went trackside. Man, I love those track cameras. Dino trying to fight back, but he jumps the cushion, gets into the wall at the top of the hill there in 1 and 2. And Blake, he's been through this before, but he got here a little quicker this time. Finally up to third. His own Jeff Barker. He gets in the inside wall, and we are under caution here for the second time. And clicked the wrong one. My apologies. So you're going to see him get into the wall here on the entrance of 1 and 2. Just cranks it down a little early. Tries to set him up as best as he can, but just kisses that wall. Goes up the racetrack. Nowhere for Terry Landis to go, who just drills him, flips up and over. Terry kept it in the ballpark. But lots of damage there on that 161 as we're back under caution. Now, is this what the driver of the 20 needed here? Blake Chapman, he gets the caution after, you know, he keeps trying to do these climbs. Not an easy racetrack to do it at the Weedsport Speedway. If he could pull this one off, this would be really something to write home to Gretchen about here, because that is not an easy task. I know we don't have a bunch of cars here, and some of them have crashed out, but Blake absolutely on a tear here through the field. As Patrick Spangler, he sees the lights are off on the pace car. They're going to go back racing this time by. as he drives up to the top, looking to build up all that speed coming down off the cushion. We're back underway. We've got 6 laps to go. Blake and Anthony dive to the bottom. Patrick and Dean up top. Battle for 5th as Clay Christopherson tries to move around the Macho Man into 042, but Tyler Wilson cracks on it and he gets back to the lead. But the battle on here. This is as close as we've seen the top 3. We've got a lap car in front. Let's see what happens here. 4 to go. Anthony Morano. He gets around Patrick Spangler. Patrick jumped the cushion in 1 and 2. Patrick gonna feed him a slide job. Side by side coming to the line. We've got 3 to go. These two have the gloves off, and now we've got a menage a trois. Blake Chapman coming down the backstretch. Oh, the caution flag waves. And boy, oh boy. Man, we may have just had one spoiled for us here, but Patrick Spangler won the race to the line coming off of 4. He holds on to the torch. And boy, let's go back. Let's take a look here at the caution flag. I believe Steve Maurer involved in this. Let's see here. Tough to tell if it started in front of him and then he was collected. I see a couple things. So it did start with Tyler Wilson here. Okay. So let's see. Tyler Wilson and Dino racing. Dino goes up, shuts the door there, and the Macho Man, you got to kind of see that coming. I mean, that's tough. He's trying to fight for every inch, but, that guy going to come up top there and try to cut down the corner entry. Now, this is where, nowhere for Steve Maurer to go. And, man, that's twice tonight. The 888 is just trying to drive through the corner here, and there's a wreck up front. Not a night to write home about there for the 888 as Steve Maurer, as the lights are off, and we're going to have a green-white checkered here at Weedsport. Only 2 laps. Anthony Morano, I said it last week, or it may not have been this series, actually, but, advantage leader, and just last week, I watched a leader fumble a restart and fall the whole way back to 3rd here on a green-white checkered. So anything can happen. The pressure's on the 39 here. Can he bring it home? We've got 2 laps left to play as he drops the hammer. We're back underway at Weedsport. Blake Chapman trying to do some work there on the 32 of Anthony Morano, and that's what the 39 wants to see. Those guys racing hard behind because the white flag is in the air. Patrick's got 1 more lap around. Blake trying to hook it up on the bottom of 1 and 2. They are side by side going down the backstretch. But final time through 3 and 4 for your leader in the 39. Patrick Spangler brings it home, followed by Anthony Morano, Blake Chapman, Dean Reynolds, and Brian Moore Sr., your top 5. But Patrick Spangler takes the lead over. Lap 3 from Dean Reynolds and just never looked back. And it was something, we had kind of missed too. Shame on me. I was watching that battle for 5th. This was the battle for the lead. I told you he peaked low there in 3 and 4. Dino was coming back with a big run, and I kind of thought Dino would take it back through 1 and 2. But Patrick, man, he absolutely nails this. Stays on the bottom and just never looked back. That was the pass for the lead. As we go back here, we'll try to get a word here with our top 3 drivers. Blake Chapman being that 3rd place driver. Let's go ahead and bring him up. Long time no see, Blake. Back-to-back P3s at a tough Weedsport when you're trying to climb the hill, man. That's a pretty good show so far.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it. Just like the last race, there were some pretty big wrecks. We just got a little bit lucky and were able to get out of the way and avoid those. So, yeah, just kind of minding my own business, running that bottom, and it went away there. about 15 laps to go, especially in 1 and 2. So we had to change things up a little bit, and found the middle, found the top, and used whatever we had to get up to third, and held on for a podium.
Yeah, and obviously, Blake, you can only control what you can control, but with 3 laps to go, well, really with 4 to go, you saw the leaders in front of you, man, mixing it up. Were you getting excited? Because right before that caution flag flew, man, you were right there on the deck, and we were about to have a 3-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, I really didn't want to see that caution come out because there was quite a bit of a gap between me and Anthony there. Then when he threw that slider on Patrick, I gained a lot of ground on him. So I was just hoping that those two were going to battle a little bit, and I was going to be able to sneak in there and maybe steal a spot or two. But unfortunately, we got that caution, and I made more of a run at second than I thought I would. But the bottom just wasn't quite good enough to get us there.
Yeah, definitely not the bottom we had in the 305 and 3 and 4. That's for sure. But you made do with what you could, and you drove that thing the whole way up to another podium finish. Congrats, Blake, on another good run, man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. Got to thank all the guys under the Crate Sim Racing team, especially Terry for running with me tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this Hometown Heroes event. Got to thank Steve at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of the very delicious popcorn. And I got to thank everyone involved in putting this league on, and you for broadcasting, Shaggy.
Hey, heck of a run, Blake. Looking forward to seeing what you can do here in the midgets, man. Give them heck.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman bringing home P3, and now we're going to bring up the man who finished P2, the driver of the 32, Anthony Morano. Anthony, man, oh man, there for a quick minute, I thought you were going to steal that thing from Patrick, but an untimely caution right after he threw that slide job through 3 and 4, man. What's going through your head there? You're battling for the lead, caution flag flies.
I didn't think I had a chance in hell, honestly. I was struggling, just trying to hurry everything through that to get to my next race here. So, just did what I had to do. Thought I might have got lucky. Then I saw Blake was peeking there underneath me. I was like, he's going to get me. And I actually moved the wing back to -1 there on the last caution just to try it out, see if I can figure something out maybe for the next race here. So it wasn't too bad. We'll do some tinkering and try to figure something out with the 360s there. I don't really think it might actually be the first time I've ever ran there. So it was different. We'll try it out and hopefully learn and maybe actually be able to do something next time.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're hanging with two of the biggest dogs we got here. I mean, you had Patrick there on his heels for a little bit. It looked like you were maybe going to take that thing away, but a P2, man, sandwiched in between Chapman and Spangler. I know that's something you're going to be happy with. So congratulations, Anthony, on the big P2, man. Who you want to thank?
I got to thank my wife, Sherry, the boys at FTM, Super Dare Car, High Mom Lens, Swan Speed Shop, Extra Installation, Castleberry Flagstone, ShaggyTV, Shaggy for doing a broadcast, Flatline Auto Bodies, or I think that's what it is, Flatline Race Design, something, one or the other. I know it's one of those two. And everyone
right the first time.
for try to remember, but yeah, and everyone here at Coast to Coast.
Well, hey, congratulations, Anthony. Good luck here in your next race, man. Get going.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Now we're going to bring up the winner here, the driver of the 39, the high side banger. Patrick, couple laps to go, man. You stepped on it a little bit. You had us scared, but you sent it in there in 3 and 4, man, with an absolute huge slide job. If you don't do that, well, the caution flies the next lap, and you're sitting there in P2. How important was that move?
I apologize to Anthony because I thought it was pretty close and I felt bad. I was able to get it back. I almost looped it because there's like a whoop section right before you get to turn 1, and it pops the front end up, and it just popped the front end up at the wrong time, and I overcorrected and almost spun out. But I got a good run out of the turn to set that up. But the bottom was there at the very beginning, and then it was going away, and then just rode the top. I got real thin there, but that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, you caught Dino by surprise there. You mentioned the bottom was in. Were you shocked, or did you know from warm-ups that you were going to be able to make that move?
I thought it was there, but I didn't know it was from fourth to first in like 3 turns good. It was lightning quick if you hit it right.
Well, hey, Patrick, man, you finally get on this top step. You know, this has been a little ways coming. You've been finishing P2 a lot, but you finally get up here. Congratulations on the big win, man. Who you want to thank?
Thanks. Yeah, just you for the awesome broadcast. Jeff and Jack for running the league, Train Wheels Racing, Jeremy Designs, Dad and Uncle back home, and I think that's it.
We going to run some midgets, or are we taking the night off?
Nope, taking the night off now. I'm going to go watch some weather coverage because it's crazy out there right now.
All right, yeah, and you got to go be a dad, too. Congratulations on the win, Patrick. Can't wait to talk to you again, man.
Thanks, sounds good.
Patrick Spangler bringing it home, and we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies Midget Sprint Cars here next at the Weedsport Speedway. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a bit of a hiatus. So let's get right when we were talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network for part 3 of our Hometown Heroes presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. And it has been war here at Weedsport. Cars hitting the inside wall, cars hitting the outside wall, and cars hitting each other. So you take the wing off, that may make the recipe even a little more disastrous here, but we'll have to see. There's a chance, too. You know, the field spreads out a little bit, honestly, and that's kind of, I guess it's good, but a fear of mine at the same time. You know, you don't want it to get too single file. We want to see them slicing and dicing a little bit, but see the checkered flag waves on warm-ups, and we get ready to go into our Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint car qualifying. You guys know by now who's going to be the first person out on the racetrack. Let's just go ahead and get to it. Oh, Jack tried. Look at how close Jack is, but he just didn't have it in him. It's not, you know, Brandon, he's built different in that 31. That internet he's got, I guess, is built different. He is ready to go. You know what? Yeah, let's go trackside here, for the first lap. See if these cameras are too loud or too quiet. The midget doesn't put off the power that the 360 puts off. Oh, he got in that inside wall. That's going to hurt both laps. You know, it's not even going to count it there for him the first one. You see he's not going to show up. But it's really going to affect the speed there for lap number 1 coming to the line. So let's see what he does. You see slower through sector 1. Only going to be P4 for the driver of the 31. He's used to qualifying on that top step, but there's Jack Hitt, the gentleman coming out stamping his way. But let's keep an eye out here. The salesman, Blake Chapman. What can the kid do here as he works the bottom through 3 and 4? Green. What's it going to be? P2 for Blake Chapman. It was almost identical there with your leader. We're going to have to bring up iRacing to know what the real number is there. Not going to improve, not going to beat that out. Let's do that. I'm curious. So a 14.414 for the gentleman. And for Blake Chapman, a 4.24. And, well, right there's Jeff Barker, too, a 4.53. Wow. Those guys are all right there. Should make for an interesting feature. And a really interesting invert here for the heat. Because, you know, we should have 2 heats. I'd imagine a 5 and a 4. I don't think they'll do a 9. So the invert's going to go the whole way back to Bixler, and you can see they're 0.3 slower than the guys in front. And that will possibly affect the way drivers want to, how deep they can drive that into turn 1 here on the opening lap. Let's take a look. Heat race number 1, 5 cars rounding out the field. The 888 is Steve Maurer. Row 2 to the outside, the 217 to the Gentleman Jacket. To the inside, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Parker. Row 1 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. To the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Bob looking to take advantage here. This front row starting spot, remember, was up there at the start of his heat, I guess, and kind of got shook up out of the way. Couldn't really get it to roll there in the 360s, but maybe he can change his fate here in the midgets. But Terry Landis on the outside, that's not a guy you want there. He's not going to take it easy on you. Terry Landis knows going out and winning this thing is real important, and he will try to pounce. You give him any light at the end of that tunnel, he is going to go for it. So Bob is going to have to get that thing wide, maybe drive it in there a little deeper than he's used to in 1 and 2 to try to shut the door. If not, he's going to get swung wide open here. This is row number 2, the Gentleman and Jeff Barker. Boy, not guys you want behind you in a midget sprint car, that's for sure. But as the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. We've got 6 laps to play in the clay. Heat race number 1 is underway. Well, tough lap 1 there for Bob DeGood. Gets in the inside wall. Nowhere for Terry Landis to go. He pays the price. But Jeff Barker, he was right there to pick up the tab, and he rolls the P1. But he's got the Gentleman right behind him. He is your defending series champion. Jack Hitt knows how to drive these midget sprint cars. And it is not going to be easy to hold him off for 4 laps here around Weedsport. Jack just trying to roll the center a little higher, trying to cut underneath the 513 on exit. Just trying to find any way to try to tighten up that gap a little bit, but Jeff Barker doing a good job of pacing himself, rolling the center there through 3 and 4, lots of speed coming off the corner, and with 2 to go, Jeff Barker looking pretty good out front in that 513, and man, if you want to dethrone the king right now, you're going to have to do it on the high side, and that's what Jack's trying to do, but the white flag in the air, only 1 lap to go. The Brewerton Beast has the lead going down the backstretch. Final time into 3 as he rolls the center through 4. Checkered flag waves. Jeff Barker brings it home, followed by the Jack Hitt, Steve Maurer, Terry Landis, and Bob DeGood. Should only have 4 guys here in this next heat race number 2. Rounding out the field, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman to the inside, the Spider Monkey in the 83, Brandon Dittmer. Row 1 to the outside, the 31 of B10, Brandon Templeton, and starting on the pole, the Mayor, Steve Bixler. My apologies here. I'm trying to refresh the overlay. It does not want to work, so I am going to have to old school delete this and type it in real quick. So bear with me kind of being a little quiet here, but that's because I'm kind of scrambling. I mean, at least we get 2 laps now. They used to shorten these heat races on me. They can't do it here. So not going to be able to this time. I don't like that either. I've refreshed it, put it in there, and it's not wanting to pop up. So this means is we are going to have to do a hard reset of the program. So my apologies here if I don't get you that overlay right away here. But with only 4 drivers on the racetrack, you guys should be able to figure that out as well as I. We'll see here. My apologies. The iRacing pops up back up when I bring up the program, but the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 is underway. Steve Bixler driving it in on the bottom. Shuts the door of Brandon Templeton there in the black car. The blue car, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, well, the white and blue, and then back behind the salesman, Blake Chapman. Steve Bixler, he gets a little contact there with B-Temp. He slides up. New leader, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer. There we go. It did pop back up for you guys, not me. I was panicking. That's why I was describing the colors. But, hey, at least you guys have it. Now you get to see Templeton to the bottom. He's trying to find a way around Dittmer. Side by side, going down the backstretch. Advantage 83 for now. But the 31 roll in the bottom through 3 and 4. Give it to the Spider Monkey at the line. Brandon Dittmer trying to hold off 2 of the best here in the late models as we've got Brandon Templeton and Blake Chapman now in a close third. As Blake loses a little pace there on the entry, didn't want to, I guess, close the gap too much there, risk getting into the back of the 31, but he gave up a lot of pace, and white flag in the air, 1 more lap to go. The Spider Monkey doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be smooth here. Final time through 3 and 4. Can he bring it home? Runs that top shelf. He grabs the checkered flag. He's going to start on the outside of the front row. Dittmer, Templeton, Chapman, and Bixler. As we round out heat race number 2 and we take a quick break and I mess with my overlay. We'll be right back here for Flatline Racing Body's Midget Sprint Car feature here at the Weedsport Speedway. Stick around. back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here. A little over 20 seconds and we get ready to go play in the Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint cars here at the Weedsport Speedway. And I expect a pretty good one here. Maybe a caution or two, maybe a couple more than that, but it is going to be a battle for the lead here right off the jump. So make sure you buckle those seatbelts tight because it is going to get bumpy here at Weedsport. Let's take a look here at the starting lineup whenever I click the correct button. Oh, one of these days, I'm going to get it. I'll tell you. You know, one of these days, it'll all be put together. We'll have the magical show. But apparently, not tonight. Rounding out the field, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 4 to the top shelf, the mayor, Steve Bixler to the inside. The Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 3 to the outside, the salesman, Blake Chapman to the inside. Steve Maurer. Row 2 to the outside, B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. To the inside, the gentleman, Jack Hitt. To the outside of row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint car feature, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, and starting on the pole, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. This could be, you know, nobody wants to be that guy to lay the curse, but I'll tell you, this could be the time here for the Brewerton Beast. It is tough to get around a guy that knows what he's doing, and Jeff, you know, he can hate on himself all he wants, whatever. I have watched this guy race hundreds of hours now, you know, with the broadcasting. I mean, he knows how to manipulate that race car. The biggest thing is going to be himself. He's got to stay smooth. You can't get too comfortable because that thing will bite you. You get too close to the inside wall, you got to be ready for everything. And Jeff Barker, we'll have to see if he's up for the task here as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We've got 25 laps to play in the clay at Weedsport Speedway. Your Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint car feature is underway. Oh, beating and banging back there. That's Steve Maurer getting pushed to the rear in the 888 with the battle on for the lead. Brandon Dittmer to the outside looking to take it early. He leads lap number 1. Jeff Barker able to slide up in line there, but Brandon Templeton now drives underneath in the 31 of B-Temp, trying to drop the sails there on that 31, let it catch the wind. He moves on up to P2. Brandon Dittmer, man, he is showing some good pace here. Still early, gonna have 22 laps to go, but the 83 looking good out front as the battle on. Blake Chapman to the bottom, trying to fish around for third here as he looks under Jeff Barker. Jeff goes down, gonna run the middle here, not give the kid a lot of room on entry, slides up in the center, and Blake grabs all the grip he needs, gets underneath. Still there. Him in the 513. Oh, they get the elbows out. Little contact. Jeff moves up the racetrack. He's going to lose the spot to Blake. Possibly another one here if the gentleman can move his way in. Oh, man. Jack Hitt takes a peek underneath, but now Terry Landis gets it rolling on the high side. The Desert Demon coming back, taking a big bite of the apple here. Oh, Dittmer must have lost it through 3 and 4. Brandon Dittmer, we got to go back and look at this pass for the lead here if I can find it. Can't right now, my apologies, but Brandon Templeton out front. Sometimes the software doesn't want to help me out either. But Dittmer, he was quick, must have just kissed that wall a little bit or maybe jumped the cushion and allowed the 83 to get on by, but there's still plenty of time if you're the 83. Here, Brandon Templeton to the inside, the Spider Monkey to the outside. Oh, using up every bit of that racetrack. Dittmer gets that right rear into the outside wall. Going down the front stretch, didn't slow him down enough here. He's still, oh! Oh! Templeton, inside wall, Dittmer back to the lead. Oh, hiccups all over the racetrack. The Spider Monkey jumps the cushion on entry, gives it right back. And man, they're playing hot potato out here with the lead. It's too hot right now. Nobody wants it. 14 to go. Blake Chapman gets up to third here. As you see the war rage on, he's going to need help. He's going to need a caution if he wants to run these guys down. But so far, we've gone one flag, the green flag. 13 laps to go. Let's see here. Let's go into the trackside cameras. Let's watch them roll around here a little bit. Whoa, look at the Desert Demon. Swinging the hammer up top. Trying to come back at his teammate there in the 20. Terry Landis, the wheelman in the 161. He has got that thing singing a song up on the top shelf. And Brandon Dittmer with another hiccup the last time around. He has lost touch with the leader, Brandon Templeton. And Terry Landis, here he comes on the outside, looking to scream out of that cave, drives in, catches the cushion, goes over. But man, hammered down there for the 161 of Terry Landis. Those KSR boys side by side for the last 3 laps, and they're still breathing down Brandon Dittmer's neck with 8 to go. Back and forth, back and forth. These guys gonna have to work together if they want to find a way around that Spider Monkey. Terry Landis works the outside, trying to will Dittmer, trying to push him just that little bit, saying, come on, man, come on, man. I know I'm quicker than both of you, but I can't get you both at the same time. And with 6 laps to go, you ain't got much of it. Blake trying to do his dirty work on the bottom, but you can see it's so tight coming off the corner. He's just got to give it too much wheel. Can't keep it straight. And oh, the Desert Demon. He thought about making it 3 wide. Oh, no! Contact there with Jack hit after he jumped the cushion. And the Judy Special ends up on his side in the middle of 1 and 2. Caution flag waves for the first time. We saw it live. Terry just drives it in a little deep. You see he gets the right rear in the front stretch wall. Couldn't set it up for corner entry the way he wanted to. And just as he thinks he's going to be able to catch it and bring it down, well, here comes a handshake from the 217's right rear. And Jack Hitt just couldn't woe that thing down and give him the room he needed. And Terry Landis ends up on the side, throwing sparks. And we're under caution for the first time. Oh, Brandon Templeton blinking a little bit. I was wondering what was going on with the camera. Hopefully the 31 gets it figured out. Definitely don't want to see Brandon lose the lead this way. He deserves much more than a connection problem here under caution. That would be tough there for the driver of the 31. And oh, man. Brandon Templeton, I believe we may have lost him. We may have lost. No, it just flashed him out front. I don't know. This is, see here if we see him blinking in and out. I do not see him popping up on the track. I think Dittmer is a little worried about it as well. He's trying to leave extra space here, and this is going to be a confusing one. The green flag waves, we're back underway. And I believe it's flashing an out there. It may have taken Templeton out of the race. Tough break there for the driver of the 31. We'll know for sure here as they come across this time. And Brandon Dittmer, he is your leader. It does not like what happened to Brandon Templeton there. The software, my apologies. Oh, Dittmer drops it up over. Able to grab it and bring it back down. But man, that was a close call here. Is Blake Chapman taking a swing now? Can he come up here? He's up to P2. He's got defending champion in the 217 now. He works his way around it with the white flag in the air. Man, oh man, you gotta think. The Spider Monkey. I would have never picked him to bring this thing home tonight. He drives it on the top shelf, and he does. He brings it home in Weedsport. The Spider Monkey gets it done, and Jack hit P2. Blake rounds out the top three. Barker fourth, Bixler fifth, DeGood sixth, Maurer seventh, and Landis eighth. And I would assume Templeton going to get dropped back there to the back. I'm going to see here. Wait, what? It has Brandon Templeton winning? Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. Why we couldn't see him. We'll see here. Gonna mute everything really quick. I want to try to figure out what happened here. Okay, so I talked to Dittmer, and I guess you could see, he could see Templeton kind of flickering in and out here. Let's see if we go back to this white flag lap. Let's go off the nose. Because I'll try to see. So this is Brandon Dittmer. Now, it's so crazy because you see, we see absolutely nothing. He was telling me that they could see him flicker in and out every now and then. Yeah, that's unbelievable. I couldn't see him at all. So, Brandon, when you go back and look at this, or I'll tell you about it in your interview, I feel bad, but you got to add a spot there to everybody on that list. That was pretty awkward, but hey, we'll run this thing down here and we'll pull up Jack Hit here. Jack, I'll tell you what, man, I'm sure Brandon maybe told you guys there, Dittmer, but dude, I said that you got P2 there. I did not see Brandon Templeton even in my replay. I just drove off the front of Brandon Dittmer those last two laps. I could not see him blinking in and out at all. So to me, he was gone. I had saw him blinking under caution, and then he had just never came back. But P3, man, I guess that's still not too bad, right?
Yeah, he started blinking during that caution. I mean, it was just a pretty consistent blink, but he was there the whole time. But I'm here trying to get the podium shot, and he's not in my replay either, so I don't know what happened. But he was there, and I mean, anytime we come to this track, he's always fast. So he deserved the win.
Oh, no, most definitely. That's not what I was getting at. I just feel bad that I'm going to kind of flub him. I wonder what maybe, dropping something, maybe that's something iRacing has to work at in the in the files, because that's, because I'm in here as a spectator, not a racer. So maybe if I was in as the racer, he doesn't totally blink out and I get to see him. But weird, yeah, that he doesn't show up in your replay file either. But at the end of the day, Jack, not an easy racetrack, and to bring home a podium, man, if you want to be a defending, or if you want to be a champion, you know all about that. These podiums add up. So pretty good run, man. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, rough start to the season for points, but got to thank you for putting on the broadcast, guys, for coming out and putting on a good race. We almost went green checker there. I don't know what happened between me and Terry. I apologize if I got into him though. And
He had jumped the cushion. You know how sometimes you get into the front stretch wall? He did that with the right rear, and he missed the corner entry. So, dude, there was nothing you could really do. Not with how you got to set these things up. So you're in the clear. I think he'd say the same.
yeah, I wasn't sure just because, like I said, you got to set them so early going into one there. But got to thank my wife, of course, for giving me time to do this too.
Well, hey, hell of a job, Jack. Congratulations, man. And hey, dude, we thank you for all that you do, man. You're a big reason the gears are still turning. So we appreciate you, Jack. Good run.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Jack hit, bringing home P3. And now the guy who, well, I told you I just talked to him. I had to get the fill in. And I'm telling you, Brandon, well, Jack said the same thing that I just asked Jack. When he goes back and looks at the replay, he can't see Brandon's car either. So that's really, really weird. But, hey, man, it goes from a win to a second real fast. But, you had a pretty good race car. How you feeling about the night as a whole?
Oh, nice, feeling pretty good. I mean, I don't race a lot of midgets. There's only a few tracks that I'm actually fast in a midget, and this just happens to be one of them. This and the Chili Bowl. But no, I have a lot of fun when I race these, and I mean, it's unfortunate that does happen, but no, we'll roll with the punches as they come, and I'm just happy to come out with the second out of this, especially after I almost stepped on it, gave it away like 3 different times. So
yeah, that's what I said on the broadcast there, man. It was like the lead was hot potato. You guys, he fumbled it, he clips the wall there in 3 and 4. You go around and immediately overdrive it a little bit in 1 and 2. I mean, what was it about the top tonight? It seemed like it was so tricky in everything we came into, especially in 1 and 2, just guys maybe overdriving it a little bit. What made it so hard?
well, Weedsport's a weird track. If you're wanting to run the top side in 1 and 2, you almost got to back it in to almost to the middle of the corner, hit that cushion, and then drive out of it. And it's a very fine line. You drive it in a little too hard, you catch that wall, and then you wreck. So it's hard to get perfect, but if you do hit it just right, it's a beauty.
Well, hey, man, you look pretty good out there tonight, and you look pretty fast. One short of the win, but, these things add up. And, man, those P2s, they do a wonder for the confidence. So, hell of a job, Brandon. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Oh, you for the broadcast, everybody behind the scenes making this all run, all the sponsors for being able to put up a broadcast, and all the guys for running tonight. Really good, clean racing for the most part, as far as I saw. And, yeah, just fun overall.
Well, hey, hell of a run, Brandon. Congratulations, man. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you.
And now we're going to bring up the man who won this thing, Brandon, I cheated you out of a win here because, dude, when you go back and look at this broadcast, I saw you blinking a little bit under caution. And every lap, okay, you would stay on the leaderboard at the top, but I swear to God, your car is gone. I cannot find a replay file for you from those last 5 laps. So I'm so sorry that I gave the win to Brandon Dittmer, but I thought you were gone, dude.
No, that's not your fault, man. I guess my internet was acting up. Dittmer sent me a video of it. It was pretty bad. It was like a half a second I was there, and then I wasn't there for a second. So that's tough. I hate being that guy that's blinking. I've raced a lot of guys and been behind them when they're doing that, and it makes it a real tough task when you're struggling with the car and then someone starts blinking in your face. So that's tough, but I'll take it, I guess. I'm just glad it was the last few laps. If I'd have known it was that bad, I'd have probably pulled off.
Well, no, and honestly, Brandon, let's, you won't say it, but I'll say it. The right guy brought it home. You were pretty quick out front. And it seemed like a couple times, you'd step on it a little bit, maybe clip that inside wall or jump the cushion, and you'd let Brandon get right back to you. What made this racetrack so tricky tonight, man, that it was just tough to hit your marks every time around?
It's just the way I've been racing the last couple seasons. I can't get myself to just settle in and take what the car gives me. I'm always on the edge. I'm always feel like I'm always on a qualifying lap. It's like I tell myself this is a tricky track. Go out there and finish, and then next thing I know, I'm 5 laps in, full throttle, an inch off the walls. So I don't know what to tell you. It's just I'm glad I don't race it in real life because it'd probably be expensive.
Yeah, man, it's hard to take the bark out of that dog. And Brandon, any time you get in one of these, you're one of the favorites going in. You're super quick, and I know tonight it hadn't gone your way so far. So to be able to come back, man, put all that bad crap in the past here and end the night with a checkered flag, I know it's got to feel good. Congratulations, man. Who you want to thank?
I got to thank Jay with Dirt Track Bank, everybody back at Hammerdown Racing, Joe, Kurt, and Brian. Brian's been feeding us some setups for the open stuff, and that's been helping the program a lot. So we've been getting a little more speed in the mods here and there. Thanks to Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, you, Shaggy, for putting on an awesome broadcast that's fun to watch back, and everyone watching at home, everyone doing coast to coast and helping out behind the scenes, review committee, administration, executive, whatever you do. Thanks for helping out.
Hey, hell of a run, Brandon. And man, when you go back and look at this thing, you can hear it in my voice. I am so glad you didn't get kicked out because you deserve this thing. You were quick as hell. And man, if you would have lost it that way, that would have been a shame. So congratulations, man. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
Brandon Templeton, I'm glad the internet gods held up for this guy because after the night that he had, man, he needed it. He was quick. You got to feel a little for the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, but man, this guy needed it and answered the bell here at the right time. Congratulations to Brandon Dittmer winning your Flatline Racing Bodies Midget Sprint Car feature here at the Weedsport Speedway. And with that, we come to a close. But make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button because tomorrow, Adam Flieger going to be in for the small blocks, then the big blocks and small blocks, and then, well, yours truly will be back for the pro late models. So don't miss a beat here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman saying so long. Have a good evening.